Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone, to the Author's Journey. Honored to be connecting in with you. Today, we have an amazing author who has said yes to the calling. When she was tapped on the shoulder and asked to write, she wrote, and then she brought it all the way forward to launch and release it in the world, and it became an international best-selling book within hours. So very well received, and it's even led to where she is launching multiple things out in the world. So I'm very excited to have her joining us today so that we can talk about what is that like when you, and how do you listen, say yes, know when it's time, really lean into bringing your message, your book forward in the world and discovering how it can just launch so many different things in your life. Because what I've learned is a book is never just, quote unquote, a book. It's a mission. There's a purpose. There's a reason a book is being called forth. And I think you're going to enjoy what our beautiful guest has to share with us around that today. Listeners, I'm thrilled to have you leaning in to join the conversation, and I want you to get the most out of our time together today. So here are my tips. 1, take a breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Take a moment to slow down, to become present. It's really hard to receive, to hear, when we're always in motion. Sometimes we move so fast, we can't catch up with ourselves. So take time right now, during this time together, to breathe, to be present, to receive everything that is here for you. I also, in addition to breathing, pausing, listening, I encourage you to grab a piece of paper or a notebook so you can write down those things that tap you on the shoulder as we're talking, whether it's something our guest shares or I share, or maybe it's something when you're slowing down to be present and listen that bubbles up within you. So have your pen ready, your paper ready, so that you can capture those aha moments, those insights, those tips that can serve and support you. It's so easy to miss them. It's so easy to get distracted by the next shiny, exciting thing. So be deliberate, be purposeful, choose to capture it, write it down. And a key to writing it, not just speaking it, not just thinking it, writing it down connects your heart and your hand. It connects your mind, body, soul, and spirit, and you're actually able to engage in what you're writing down and then bring it forward. So write down those tips and insights. And then enjoy this time together. Be leaning in with anticipation, because there is a reason you are here today. There is something for you in this conversation. I want you to hear it. I want you to receive it. So be leaning in with anticipation and excitement, looking forward to all that will unfold in our conversation today. So welcome, welcome. Thrilled to have each and every one of you joining us today. Let me introduce our amazing guest. I know you're going to love her. Mackenzie Nelson is a #1 international best-selling author, a podcast host of a show called High Voltage, a restaurant owner, and a book launch specialist at our RHG Productions, media productions company. She is a former high school all-star basketball player and is passionate about bringing hope and healing to each and every one of you, to encourage and let you know that no matter what, there is hope and you can step forward in powerful ways. Please lean in and warmly welcome the dynamic and powerful and high voltage Mackenzie Nelson to the show. Welcome.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's such an honor to be here with you and to get to talk to you all about what writing this book has been for me and the journey. And just honored to be able to be with you today. So thank you for that fantastic greeting.
You are so welcome. Thrilled to have you joining us today. I can feel that energy. My hands are raised. Listeners, I hope you felt that surge of energy and excitement as we lean in. And I'm just really honored to have you join us today. I know after a book launch, when you release it into the world as you did, and so many things launching, it's such a busy time. And I'm very honored that you've carved out time for our conversation today. So welcome. And
Yay,
I wanted,
me too. Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to start with why. Why is this work of sharing your story, stepping out in the world in so many different formats to encourage others? Why is that work personally so important to you?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a great question. I have a multitude of reasons, but I feel like the most important why for me is it's directly connected to my purpose and my destiny. I do believe that we were each put on this earth to help each other in a capacity that is uniquely available to us. And so for me, I feel writing, speaking, encouraging others, helping people to heal and talk about the things in life, that society typically labels kind of taboo at conversations is my calling. I'm good with the difficult stuff. So I think that's why I was called upon to speak about my journey, and hopefully my experiences and story can relate and help someone else.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for saying yes, leaning in. And I think what a gift to all of us to have people willing to talk about difficult things, hard things in a clear, powerful and positive way. And that those taboo subjects are those things we shy away from. When we shine a light on them, there is hope and there is healing and there are steps we can take. And I love that you are willing to do that and share your story. And that actually ties into your book. So why this book? Why did you decide one of the formats that was important for you to share and is your book? I'd love for you to share.
Why one of the formats was the audiobook?
No, the book in general. Why write the book? Because speaking and podcasting, there's so many ways that you're leaning into bringing your message forward. And one of them is the book. And that has been a catalyst to so many different things. So I'd love for you to share why this book became important, why you said yes.
Oh, definitely. So that's a great question. I really felt called to this particular book. As I started my journey, I felt like I was led to write 3 pages a day. And I love how in the intro you talked about the connectivity between when we're actually writing with our physical presence instead of like typing. For me, I wrote this whole book in my own writing, handwritten, and I have a surplus of pages, so much more material, even after I was done writing this book due to the process I utilized, which was 3 pages a day. So I would sit and write for 3 pages a day. And as I wrote, I saw my story, who I was, all these different areas of my life permeating the pages and, kind of exploding off the pages and showing me and teaching myself through my own writing about my own journey. And I knew there was something very powerful about that process. So the 3 pages a day to transform your life is now a journal that accompanies my book. And I feel like that's one of the most powerful avenues that people can utilize if they're looking to heal or go on their own journey. And it's something simple, 3 pages a day. Just incorporate it into your life. But the capacity for change is never ending with this process. I still utilize it.
I love that. And it feels very doable, 3 pages a day, especially if we're looking at a journal. That's not the 8.5 by 11 sizes. That's the 6 by 9.
Right.
Which is beautiful. And I feel so many people, I think, have this prompt or this pull to write a book or someday that they struggle with someday they'll bring it forward. And what I love about your process, Mackenzie, is it makes it so approachable that 3 pages a day, we can sit, we can capture our thoughts, and over time, your content will come forward. You get to interact with it. You get to grow. You get to experience it. And I love that you've used that process. It helped not only launch and bring forward your international best-selling book that we'll talk about momentarily, but it's also launched this program, 3 pages a day. It's launched your podcast. It's launched your speaking. It's launched all these different things that you've been able to step into because you took on 3 pages a day. When God tapped you on the shoulder and said, it's time for you to start writing, right? 3 pages a day, you said yes, and all of this unfolded. So I love that. We are getting ready to go to our first commercial break, absolutely. And as we do so, listeners, I want you to think about some of what Mackenzie has shared and what is something you are feeling pulled and called to bring forward, perhaps something you have been uniquely designed and equipped to do. Maybe there's a way you can start to build that practice in of 3 pages a day. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, a moment to pause, to really think about how does it feel to think, wow, I could bring my message forward. I could grow. I could launch all these things that I feel pulled and called to bring forward by spending 3 pages a day, time writing 3 pages a day, how it can transform your life. I don't know, somehow when I heard that and Mackenzie first shared that with me, I just felt good. I thought, wow, that's doable. I think I can do that. And then whatever comes, I have those 3 pages that I've devoted time and attention to. And that becomes a time for me to listen, to receive, to interact. So I hope that you explore perhaps adding that practice into your day, especially those of you who are called to write, those of you who are called to speak. It's a powerful, powerful practice. Now, Mackenzie, I was thinking during the break about your journey. And I've had the privilege and honor of reading your book. I actually got to read an advanced copy, so I'm familiar with your story. And I know many of our listeners, this might be the first time they're meeting you and learning about you, and they don't know your full journey. And I'd love for you to share, if you could just give us a little bit of a snapshot of some of what you shared in your book, and how did you have the courage to step forward and share as you have?
Well, that's great. Another great question. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you, Rebecca? For me, my story, My Father's Feathers, a journey of transformation, healing one feather at a time, is really speaks on a broader scale to me about identity. My book is really about, I went through a lot with my identity, finding out I was half adopted when I was 6. I was, told he was in the mafia, and there was so much going on in my childhood, and I was basically, my whole identity was formed, I discovered through this writing process based on what someone else told me I was. And I think that's just something in my book that everyone can relate to. we really do need to go on these journeys, on these healing journeys for ourselves to kind of discover and uncover like who we really are apart from who society says we are, apart from what people say we are. Who are you at your core? And I've just been so surprised to learn there's so many of us out here who still don't really know who we are or what we want, or things we don't even think about, things like destiny or purpose. And so for me, my book, my journey, is about self-discovery. It's about understanding who God is in a more personalized way apart from religious systems. And it's like a one-on-one relationship now that I have with Jesus that fills me to overflowing every day and gives me the strength. That relationship gives me the strength to share my story, to speak about where I've been and how I've gotten there. And it gives me so much joy now that this is out in the world that I can share that overflowing cup with others and encourage them that if you don't know who you are and you haven't taken the time to discover that, here's a tool. It's 3 pages a day. Just write your story a few pages a day and find out more about yourself. I mean, life's so short, and that's really what I hope the reader can come away with from my story, is just feeling inspired, strengthened, and encouraged to, go for your dreams. And if you don't know what they are, go on a journey to discover what you were meant to be and who you were meant to be and how you were meant to help others.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I so appreciate that. And in addition to your story, you also include what you call opinion points in your book as well. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, what those are, what opinion is, and how that could also support the readers on their journey.
So opinions are basically like the flight feathers on a bird's wing. And I just found it really cool that in the same places, when you go to cut a pinion, you actually make it so a bird can't fly. And for me, a lot of the strength that I've gained in my journey has been found in the same places where I feel like my wings have been clipped, where my identity, I feel, has been stolen, in so many ways, to where I didn't know trauma, abuse kept me held back and grounded from really flying with the strength that I believe God intended for me to have, for me to know. And regardless of whether my circumstances changed or stayed the same, I found now with these pinions, with these points that I've learned along the way in my journey, they enabled me to fly higher regardless of changed circumstances or not. So I do offer those insights at the end of the book. They can be utilized while you read one chapter and then flip back there, or you could do them all at the same time. And then you could use the corresponding journal to answer questions that way too, if you want it. Perfect. I love that. So many different ways to use your book and really help support people on the journey. And something I want to just take a moment for those listeners out there that are writers that are looking to bring your message forward, really think about some of the different tools that Mackenzie has created in her book. So this opportunity to have questions, to have things to reflect on, to take the content deeper, a companion journal to support the reader on their journey. These are really powerful pieces that can be included in your book, in the material you're looking at bringing forward to support the reader and really bring that transformation that you're hoping for them to have in bringing your book forward. So just something as you are taking notes and thinking about things to perhaps put a question mark by, something to explore and take a look at. Now, your book was launched and very quickly became an international best-selling book, meaning it hit best-selling status in at least 2 countries, and it hit it in the U.S. and Canada for 18, not 3, not 5, not 7, 18 best-selling categories between the 2 countries, which is super powerful. Congratulations again. And I'd love for you to share a little bit of what was that like to launch your book and to have it received that way so quickly? Well, thanks, Rebecca. Wow. Yeah, it's still so amazing to think back on. It's almost been a month since I launched it, which is crazy, or it'll be a couple months by the time they listen to this, I think. But it was such an exciting day, and you did such a great job, and all of the RHG staff at helping me prepare for that day and helping me set my expectations. But I really think when all is said and done, nothing can really prepare you for the way you feel when your story has impacted other people's lives. It brings me to tears to think that some of the feedback I've gotten to date about how it's really just helped people not feel so alone. That to me is just a gift that keeps on giving. And now that it's out in the world and it's now in print format, it's just going to keep growing and growing and expanding. And it's like, the rock that drops into the ocean, and now it's almost turning more into like a tidal wave, and you can kind of feel that excitement mounting on launch day, right? The wave that hits, and then you get to hear what people say and think and how it impacted them. And it's just a very overwhelmingly exciting experience, and it still is.
I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations again on your powerful success, the tidal wave of hope and healing that you're bringing around the world. And I'm going to list just a few things that this has launched, because I also think for our listeners, it's great to have a perspective of the book and how it can fit into so many different things and what it can launch. And so with yours, it's launched the journal. It's launched a 3 pages a day program. It's launched Chloe's House. It's launched the High Voltage podcast. It's launched you speaking and sharing your message. It's led to you also being on the Speaker Talent Search panel in 2023. It's launched all these different things as you have leaned into saying yes, bringing your story forward, bringing your message forward, and you keep being open to those opportunities that come. Anything you'd like to add to that, or tips or advice you can give to our listeners that are also on mission and being called to launch many things?
Well, I personally feel like it's as simple as, like you said. I mean, I remember when we met and you said, just say yes. And to me, I love God, and He is a God of yes. And so that aligned with me. It clicked with me. And as soon as I started saying yes, I waited, I prayed. Just to have patience is the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone else out there, is to wait and trust in the waiting. And the best way that I have found that to be possible for me is to focus in on the power that is the present moment, and to just really focus on where I'm at and what I'm hearing and how I'm being led. And when I listen for that, and then I write or I journal, sing songs, spend time in that moment, I feel like I get a lot of knowledge and stability, and that feeds me, fuels me, and helps me to stay, patient for whatever doors open next, to where it's not something you should ever feel frantic about or try to rush ahead. I really do believe that what's meant for us will be. Mm-hmm. And that's really how I maintain my composure and my peace, is that I don't try, to run too far ahead, and I just allow what's going to happen. That's the best piece of advice I have. Just keep walking through the open doors, keep staying in the moment, keep trusting that where you're being led is where you're supposed to go.
Beautiful. I love that. And that allows so much to come forward, but it's not where you're having to push or stress or make it happen. You can allow. And I love that. Keep walking through open doors. So keep saying yes. Beautiful, beautiful advice.
Yes. And just keep going through the doors.
That's right. Keep going through.
When they close, pray about that. And not soon after a window will open, and you jump through that.
Exactly. There's more than one way to get there. So I love that. Find your way. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, as you look back on the journey, is there anything that surprised you about the publishing process or bringing the book forward, or some of what that journey is like from where you began? Anything that surprised you along the way?
Yeah. And I think I told you this recurrently, I think, throughout the process, which was when people found out I was writing a book, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you know what to write about? And is it hard to think of things? And so I think there is this idea that for writers, it's we get writer's block a lot, or I kind of was just expecting that was going to be a part of my process, but it wasn't at all. Everything just kind of flowed, and I had the opposite problem where I think I had too much material, too many words. So for me, the biggest challenge in this process was was cutting back content and praying into and leaning into what material was meant for this book. And I really do feel as a whole, it's such a beautiful piece. And I'm so thankful and grateful to you for your help and guidance in that area, Rebecca. You made that management of my material a streamlined process. And so I don't know how I would have gotten that without you. So that part surprised me, having to go through all the content.
Thank you for sharing that. It was an honor to be on this journey with you and to be part of the process. Complete honor. And I love that there was a flow of content, and then getting support on bringing it forward, I think is so powerful, that we don't have to do it on our own, and really looking through the content, whether it's we need more content or we need to select from the content, being able to do that with support makes a big difference. So I love that. Any tips that you would give our listeners out there as you're reflecting on the journey to help them bring their message forward?
My best advice, if you're looking to publish a piece, is you want to partner with someone. Like, I prayed a lot about who to partner with, and I felt led to Rebecca. And I do feel like that is a very important part of the process. Wherever you're looking to partner and publish with, that you feel safe in that area, that they are holding space for you, that, they're taking time, especially the first-time author, to explain processes, and that, you are feeling, if it's not something that you are feeling is for you, that you're recognizing that, that you're listening to that, and that you're open to suggestions, And as my first time, I feel I was very humble in terms of our communicative efforts, and I think that really did lend to a more beautiful manuscript overall, versus if I had felt so like I had to maintain control over every aspect. That would be my biggest piece of advice to anyone looking to publish for the first time. Just feel that you're partnered with someone where you can trust, and you guys can cohesively work together. It makes everything much more enjoyable.
Yes. Beautiful. Great advice. And I loved how you mentioned feeling safe. It's such an intimate journey and relationship.
Yeah.
When we're talking, we call them book babies, when we're talking about your book baby, that we want to honor its journey and what's being brought forward. And I think that's really important to look for when you're looking for those to partner with you on the publishing side and bringing it forward. You want to have that safe place and alignment. So I think that's really, really great advice, that look for a place, someone that you feel safe with and you feel that alignment with, that you together can pray forward, work together on the material to bring forward all that's being called. So I think that's great advice. I so appreciate it. And you mentioned Audible earlier. So your book is available in Kindle. It's available in print, softcover, hardcover. The journal's available. All can be found on Amazon. And I know the Audible's in the works, so that's going to be out soon. Where are some of the best places that people can get a copy, lean in, stay connected with you?
Well, there's a few. I do have a website. It's just www.mackenzieknelson.com. We update it frequently with new podcast episodes. I have a YouTube channel that you can access through my website. Also, I have a 30-minute session if you'd like to connect for free and chat a little bit more. Maybe you've read my book and you have a few questions, or maybe you just feel called for some reason to connect. I'd love to talk with you and see what your needs are and how I can help.
Beautiful. And can you give that link again?
Sure. It's www.mackenzieknelson.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And your book title again?
It's My Father's Feathers. It's a journey of transformation and healing, one feather at a time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. I know the book's available on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com, lots of different platforms if you're looking to lean in and again be listening and watching for Audible when it comes out. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break, and as we do that, I encourage you to write down Mackenzie's beautiful book, title, contact information, and if you feel led to connect and go deeper, honor that. She's really here giving that information on purpose to connect with you and support you on your journey. When we come back, we're going to have a couple exciting tips, and I'm going to have her share about her cover. So enjoy these 2 minutes, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that pause. I find those pauses, when I remember they're for me, it's a moment to pause and breathe and be. It creates such a nice rhythm in life and peace. And so a tip I would give you on your journey is to appreciate the pauses, those commercial breaks, those disruptions, quote unquote, that red light, traffic taking longer. Instead of letting that cause frustration, take that as an opportunity for you. Oh, I get another extra moment for me to pause, to breathe, to be present, to notice, maybe lean into some material for my 3 pages when I'm going to write them, whatever it may be. But when I do that, I shift to appreciating that unexpected delay, that unexpected moment. They become quite rich for me, and I look forward to that next red light. I look forward to that next time I get to be in line and be present and not do. So I'm going to encourage you to embrace those pauses and moments. Let them speak to you. That will create richness. It also gives you kind of a check-in opportunity. Am I being the way I want to be? Or am I letting the day run me? Those pauses are a moment to check in, see how are you doing? How are you feeling? Who are you being? Are you being who you want to be? If it's yes, great, celebrate that. Lean in, do more, be more. If it happens to be no, that's a moment to think, okay, with my next breath, let me be who I want to be. And step forward in that breath and that focus. Those moments create a different perspective. You can shift how you're being, how you're showing up in the day, just simply embracing those pauses. So we built them in the show on purpose for you. So I hope you've enjoyed them. And I want to give you an extra credit bonus opportunity for those of you who love those opportunities. Take a moment or two for you at the end of the show and just breathe and be, enjoy. See if there's something that bubbles up, an action you want to take, and see how you're wanting to step forward. So take that moment, take that time for you. For those of you who are looking at bringing your book forward, your message forward, and you're not quite sure some of those next steps, or you have questions, I wanted to give you a resource to support you. It's called Emerging Author Series. It's the Emerging Author Series for emerging messages and books and authors. You can go to emergingauthorseries, plural.com, emergingauthorseries.com, and that is our gift to you. You'll find 9 different ebooks you can select from. You can take them all, you can take one, whatever you would like, that can support you on your journey. And they're frequently asked questions we get from authors, or I've written it, now what? What is publishing? What are myths and truths? What's the difference between releasing my book and launching? What is this best-selling launching thing people are talking about? Is it something that would serve me? All kinds of things that we get asked to empower you and support you on your journey. So I encourage you to tap into that resource, and you'll see opportunities in there. If you want to connect and go deeper, we're always happy to do so. But I wanted you to know those resources are there, and they were created especially for you. So I encourage you to lean in. And then I mentioned before our break that we we're going to bring Mackenzie back on in this closing segment and talk about her cover. I was getting so caught up in all that was being shared, I missed touching on our cover, and I wanted to take a moment and talk about that, because that cover is so important. It contains your book. And for those of you who are called to write and bring your messages forward, it's very important to think about the container, that image, that visual that's going to help your people and those who don't know about you yet that will be served by your book to connect in with you. It draws them in, builds a bridge. So cover design is really important. It's not something you want to just kind of throw together. You want to be thoughtful. You want to make sure there's alignment. You want it to be something you feel really good about. And for you, Mackenzie, I know that you were very much led in how the cover was to come together. And so I'd love for you to share. Describe your cover to us and why it has the elements in it that it has.
Sure. Yes, that's a great question. For me, my father's feathers is something that I went through a chronic health journey, a battle for a while with just very high levels of pain in my body. And it went on for a couple years where I was in and out the hospital, doctor's appointments. No one could figure out what was going on. But I'll fast forward to the end. We figure it out. Buy the book to figure it out if you want to hear the rest of the story. But feathers during that time, there was one particular picture in my home that I would just feel almost like if you could go inside of a painting, that's how much I was being drawn into this picture of one white singular feather on my wall. And as I stared at it, I felt healing, I felt hope, and I heard the phrase, "The feathers will bring you together." And I can't help but think about one feather on its own and how much it can do. You know, it's beautiful, it's fragile, but it's not until it unites and becomes active with other feathers that you have, you know, a wing or a set of wings. And so it got me thinking a lot about strength and about unity and about other people that I needed to unite with to really forge, you know, my wings to fly above all of the things that life, the challenges life brings, to grow in those places and to use them positively to fuel me in life. And you actually confirmed it for me the day that I told you the name. And I was talking to Rebecca. I'll let you guys in on a piece of inside info. And she's like, well, you should tell them what you said.
Well, I had called because I had found a feather, and I wanted to share that with you. And it confirmed the name, and it confirmed some of what you're looking to bring forward in the cover as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then through you, I was partnered with a graphic design artist who I felt really implemented the picture, the soft white feather that I felt had been leading me on in this journey and encouraging me in this process. And the same picture that I looked at going through the chronic health journey is now on the front cover of the book. That little feather is right there, and it's inside my pages, and it's everywhere. So I'm looking for those feathers to bring me together with anyone out there who feels they need some healing, some hope, and connect us so we can share our lived experiences and help each other with the wisdom we've gained.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I so appreciate it. And all of you out there, as you lean in, and I encourage you, look at her cover. See how it calls to you. Notice the feather now that you know the story. In some of the stories, the feathers had many, many journeys throughout bringing the book forward. And it's woven throughout our pages, that touch point, that mission, bringing that forward. And I think it's great to think about how together we can soar. And we can be so much stronger when we're able to unite, that a feather doesn't have to figure it out all on their own, but together can create these powerful wings that shelter, that soar, that fly. And I love that you're leading that and bringing that forward and sharing that with the world. And that's the container that your beautiful book is wrapped in, these feathers. So I love, love, love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Any final tips or thoughts that are coming to your heart and spirit as we bring our time to a close? I don't want to miss anything that's laid on your heart.
No, thank you. I guess I just want to thank you for your role in all of this, Rebecca, and how much you have helped me step into my brilliant purpose in more ways than one. And anyone out there listening right now, I thank you so much for spending a bit of your day learning about my book. And I would love to hear any feedback you have about how it's helped you. Please feel free to reach out, connect. And I'm just so grateful to be able to do what I'm doing now because I said yes to one thing and so much is happening. It's great. Thank you, Rebecca.
Absolutely. I'm smiling. I celebrate with you all that's launching and all that's rippling out into the world. And I know there's more and more that's going to come, and so many hearts and lives being encouraged and impacted. And these beautiful set of wings, I just see the feathers coming together. And I love that, and that we can all be part of that. So thank you for spending time with us today and sharing. Congratulations on your international best-selling success. Listeners, Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listeners, thank you for leaning in and spending time with us today. I encourage you to take a couple of moments for you and just see what's percolating, what's bubbling up within you. What are you feeling in your heart and spirit as a result of our time together today? And take some notes on that. And then I encourage you to find a step or a question or a practice to start building in your life, to bring forward all that you are called to bring forward. So keep writing, keep sharing. You are absolutely needed in the world. And remember, wisdom learned and not shared is lost forever. So lean in, be generous with your wisdom, your insight, and be willing to bring it forward. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.